Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and this week I'm going to finish up painting underneath the bottom of the 680 and then look at getting the rest of the driveline in. So as you saw last week, the engine's in, the gearbox is in, so now it's time to get it up higher, finish off all the paintwork under there, and we'll go from there. All right, and that looks a whole lot better. I mean, nobody's ever going to see it except you guys, but it just tidied the bottom of this car up. So now it's time to start putting in the rest of this driveline. Yeah. Okay, so this is the stuff I've got for the car. As you've seen, this car is a bit of mix and match of all different years and ages and cars and stuff. So hopefully all this stuff fits and bolts in, but first of all, I've got to give it a good clean and a bit of a paint, make it look pretty, and then it can go in the car and fingers crossed it all fits. All right, this stuff is looking much nicer and neater. So now is the moment of truth. First things first, let's see if we can get that diff into the car. All right, first issue I have come across is that this, you can see these bolts here don't quite line up with the mustache bar. You can see it's actually, these bolts are a little bit too narrow placed for this this mustache bar. The rest of it, I just held all the bits and pieces up, and the axles line are about the right size. They look like they're going to line up, and same with the drive shaft, the tail shaft, prop shaft, whatever you want to call it. That will line up, but these holes won't. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off this moustache bar, which as you can see looks a bit like a curly moustache. I'm going to pull that off the car and try and drill these holes out slightly so that there will be just enough diameter to get these bolts in. All right, so I've remounted the moustache bar, and I've got it all in, and they bolt up nicely now, but I'm missing one bolt. It does look quite odd. I don't know, I've looked at the photos and it looks like this is sort of pretty much the way it's supposed to go, but the moustache bar's touching these uprights, so it sort of takes these rubber bushings out of the way, and also the diff looks like it's actually touching just here on the on this little crossover bar. So the whole thing, I mean, I've looked at other photos and it looks like that's the way it's supposed to go, but you'd think there'd be a bit of space between this stuff. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. Other thing I've noticed that's really annoying is I'm missing the brackets for the handbrake cables. There's like basically it looks like it works. There's a linkage here. This is obviously connected to the handbrake lever, and it should have cables going down to either wheel. And I don't have that, so I'm going to have to chase that up from Zach as well. It's another thing to chase up, but at least the diff is in. So now it's time to try and put in the last bits. both axles are now all in, all connected up. So now it's time to move on to something else. Okay, so what you're looking at here is, this is the clutch fork that I installed last week, and you know that I was having issues with this slave cylinder. The pin is too short, so when that is completely compressed, it is quite a bit shorter than what it needs to be. Basically, at full extent, it's only just going to touch this clutch fork, so that is not going to work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this pin. I've already measured that I need this pin to be another 20 mil longer than what it is. So I'm going to get a bolt, I'm going to cut it to length and then grind it out to the right shape, and then it should do the job nicely. All right, there's the original pin. There is the one I've ground up. It's not pretty, but it's the right diameter. It fits nicely into my my slave cylinder, so that should do the job nicely. Time to, I might just give it a quick coat of paint just to make it nice and make sure it doesn't rust where I've taken off all the coatings that are on it, and get it in the car. All right, that looks perfect. That's going to do the job nicely. It's now taken up the slack. It's, yeah, I think it should be good. If it causes an issue, I can always just grind the pin down a little bit further, but for now, I think we're good. So moving on. Okay, the next job is to go through, and I've got a brand new brake master cylinder and a clutch master cylinder, so I'm going to bolt them up into place. The only issue I have is that when I put this brake booster in the other week, I forgot to put the rubber bushing thing from which is down inside under the dash in, so I have to unbolt it. I don't know whether I can get enough leverage to push the pedal forward and just slide this over the top without having to go through the painful unbolting it all, because it's a real pain to bolt it in from underneath the dash. But anyway, let's bolt all these up and move on to the next job. Okay, so I've dug out the starter motor that's been sitting under my house that came with this car. It looks pretty disgusting, but I've just gone through and done a quick check, and it's still quite serviceable. So to check a starter motor to see how it is, one side is obviously ground to the engine as it's bolted on, so the negative is there. The positive goes through to the back here of the solenoid, and then this little tab here, that is actually where your key starter switch goes to. So to test it, to see if it works, basically what you're looking for is in here, is this cog gear has to move forward and spin. If it spins but doesn't move forward, it means that it's not working properly, and if it moves forward and doesn't spin, it's also not working properly. So it's pretty easy to check it. I'll just put my positive onto here on the starter motor. I'll just connect my negative onto the body, and you can use a screwdriver and just cross between the positive and that little tab I was showing you. So just like this, if you hold it still because it kicks around. So you can see that it works, it's just really ugly. So I'm going to give it a bit of a clean and maybe some paint or something just to make it look a little tidier, and then this can go in the car as well. That'll be another thing ticked off the list. All right, that looks a whole lot prettier than it did. So now it's time to bolt it up and see if I can work out which of these random wires are the right ones for this. Nothing's easy on this job. Basically, the cover plate for the bell housing, this sheet here, is slightly out, so I can't get the bolt in for the bottom of the starter motor. So that means I have to unbolt the gearbox, at least loosen it up, so that I can actually move this plate and shuffle it and get it in the right spot, so then I can bolt it up. It's just time-consuming little things. All right, let's bring it down. I've done the bottom bolts. I've got to bring it down, do the top bolts, and then hopefully I can bolt it in. So frustrating. So I've been doing a bit of investigating down here, trying to work out what this mess of wires is all about. Using the powers of deduction, I've roughly worked out what goes to the starter motor, mostly because it's what fits. Most of the wiring harness is here, and the ones that reach and actually fit on the terminals, they're probably the ones that go there. But it doesn't look like factory. Somebody has added in a relay here, and I've traced the wires. So these wires are the correct colours that come from the ignition, but somebody's added an extra relay in for power to the starter. So I don't know if that's normally an issue. Some of you might let me know in the comments if that's normally the case on these cars. In any case, it's in. It's connected up for now. I will definitely have to do something about this mess at a later stage, but that is all I have time for, so I suppose that's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, Smokey Unick was one of NASCAR's most cunning mechanics who built a reputation for bending the rules and reading between the lines. And many of these involved fuel. NASCAR had tight rules on the size of the fuel tank that could be used, but nothing on the fuel lines. His ingenious workaround was to use 11-foot long, 2-inch diameter fuel lines, which held about 5 gallons or roughly 20 litres more fuel. Another of his workarounds was that he realised that fuel contracts in size when cool. So he would cool the fuel to close to freezing, so that as the cars drove around, it would expand as it warmed up, resulting in fewer pit stops. This went really good until NASCAR changed the regulations on fuel temperature. One trick that pushed the boundary between bending the rules and outright cheating was when he inserted a basketball into the fuel tank. So when it was inspected, they measured the fuel capacity, and then later on he would deflate the basketball so they could add more fuel.
Hey guys, today we have another episode of Mail Time, and we have a letter here through from Chino Hills in California. Hi Jeff. My name's Lorenzo, and I couldn't stop watching your Porsche build. Amazing. We ride scooters here in California, and here's some stickers for you to enjoy. Unbelievable work you've done. Take care, Lorenzo. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. And he's got these really cool stickers. He's got these really cool stickers, obviously based on the Republic of California flag. So that is going straight up on the toolbox. And if you've got anything you want to send through to Mail Time, just send it through to Home Built by Jeff, PO Box 1520, Bowral, New South Wales 2576, Australia. All right, we're getting there, guys. The entire driveline is now actually connected to the car. So the engine and all the way to the wheels is all connected up. Starter motor's in. Few little workarounds I have to do there, but I'm actually quite happy. It's really coming together. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm just excited to think that we're going to have cars that have engines in them again.
There's an engine in it, right there.
Porsche engine will be coming soon. That's really exciting.
Fingers crossed, yes.
Yep.
Well, more updates on that soon. We are going to be having a live stream next weekend, so it will be on... We'll be having a live stream on the 23rd of December.
What does that mean? If you'd like any specific questions answered, please just let us know and we'll do our best to answer them.
Yep.
If you've got anything you'd like us to talk about in particular.
23rd of December, 11 a.m. in Sydney time. I'll put a link down in the description so you guys can sort of check it out and work out what time it is in your part of the world. Come and ask some questions, and hopefully we'll give you a little bit of an update on some of the builds and things that are going on. So, all right.
Okay, we'll look forward to seeing you next time. And
all right. As always, like and subscribe. Please click that subscribe button. Really helps us out. And follow us on Instagram, Mrs. Jeff on Instagram.
Yep, got to remember keep posting. I forget. It's not a habit, so I forget to post. But yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Until next time. See ya.
Smoky eunuch was not there. A lot of figures in this one. I'm going in. Ooh. When cool. So he would warm it. No, he wouldn't warm it up if it had the correct capacity. See, it makes sense when I know what I'm talking about.
You never know what you're talking about.